everyone, it's me, Princess Aurora. To check out other stories like this from my princess friends, make sure that you check out WOBM.com and 943thepoint.com. Let's get started with our magical story. I looked around the royal stable. There were so many horses, it was always hard to choose. But then a fine palomino caught my eye. He was the most beautiful creature I had ever seen. I rode the former war horse around the palace courtyard. The horse marched as confidently as if he were the king himself. Suddenly, I had an idea. From now on, I think I'd like to ride the same horse every day, I said. What a wonderful idea, Prince Philip agreed. You should have a horse of your own. What's this horse's name? I asked. We call him Brutus, Your Highness, the groom replied. Oh no, I exclaimed. That won't do at all. I think I'll call him Buttercup. Philip and the groom looked surprised. Are you sure? They asked. I smiled. Do you like your new name, Buttercup? The horse snorted happily. Aurora rode Buttercup around the castle grounds. When the pages flew their trumpets and they rode by, he didn't flinch. When a carriage rumbled past, he stood at attention. When I asked him to jump over a stone wall, he cleared it effortlessly. The next day, I decided to ride Buttercup out to the fairy's cottage. Why don't you let me saddle up Samson and come with you, Philip suggested, looking worried. Don't be silly, I said with a laugh. I grew up in those woods, remember? Besides, I'll be with Buttercup. He'll take care of me. Buttercup and I pranced off, but the moment we entered the woods, Buttercup became a different horse. He began to walk slowly and look around nervously. When some of my woodland friends appeared, Buttercup tried to run away. What's the matter, Buttercup? I asked. Why, there's nothing to be frightened of. I could hardly believe the change in my horse. He was even afraid to step over a branch. When I asked him to walk through a forest stream, he nearly fainted. By the time we reached the cottage, I was feeling a bit frustrated. How could a horse who was so brave at the palace be so timid in the woods? Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather hurried out of their cottage. I'm sure it will be all right, Flora said. You'll just need to be patient with him. That's all. Yes, dear, be patient, Merryweather agreed, but she sounded distracted. She moved closer to the horse. What a nice coat he has. And such shiny hooves, Fauna added. Though he might look even nicer if his hooves were another color, Merryweather mused. Zap! She aimed her wand. Just like that, Buttercup's hooves turned blue. Oh, don't be silly, Flora exclaimed. A horse shouldn't have blue hooves. On the other hand, he might look pretty in pink. Zap! Buttercup's hooves returned to their normal color, but the rest of him turned pink. Quit that, Merryweather cried. Blue! Pink, Flora argued back. Zap, 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 zap. As the two fairies argued, the horse changed from one color to the next. I watched my new horse change color. That didn't seem to bother him at all, but when a stray leaf fluttered down, he jumped and snorted as if it were a horse-eating dragon. But what was I going to do? I didn't want to give up on him. Buttercup was so perfect in every other way. Soon it was time to say goodbye to the fairies. I did my best to ignore the way Buttercup hesitated at every shadow on the trail home. I had been certain that Buttercup was the perfect horse for me. Now, I wasn't so sure. Suddenly, Buttercup stopped abruptly. What is it this time? I asked with a sigh. But I looked up on the trail ahead and gasped in horror. An enormous mountain lion was blocking their path. My heart pounded as I watched the creature creep closer. If Buttercup had been scared by a bunny rabbit, he was certain to go crazy over a mountain lion. We were in big trouble. To my surprise, Buttercup didn't panic or even try to run. Instead, he stood proudly and puffed himself up to look even bigger than he was. He planted his hooves and snorted angrily at the mountain lion. Then he marched forward and struck out at the lion with his front hooves. I hung on. I was still scared, but it seemed that Buttercup wasn't. Buttercup's lack of fear made me feel braver. I reached out and grabbed a sturdy tree branch. "Leave us alone," I yelled to the mountain lion, waving the branch, "or else." Buttercup pawed at the ground and added a fierce snort to back up my words. When the mountain lion didn't budge, Buttercup leaped forward and pinned its tail to the ground with one hoof. Then I reached out and gave the lion a smart rap on the nose with my branch. The lion let out an embarrassed yowl. Then it yanked its tail free and raced away. Aurora was pleased with herself and with her horse. Buttercup had been brave when it really counted. "Come on, Buttercup," I said, giving him a pat. "Let's go home." Buttercup snorted again, proudly, and pranced off. As Buttercup and I neared the castle, a butterfly fluttered past. Buttercup's eyes went wide, and he jumped in terror. I stroked Buttercup's neck and talked to him in a soft voice, reminding him to stay calm. The butterfly fluttered closer and closer and finally landed right on his nose, which was only trembling a little bit. "Good boy," I praised him. "You know, Buttercup, I think we make a perfect team." Well, everyone, that's my story. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye.